Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. That's too sweet. Anyway, continuing on with goalie goals scored in the NHL. And today, we're talking about the 12th goalie goal scored by a goalie, or the third straight credited goal, depending on how you want to look at it. Now, up to this point, from the last goalie goal we talked about, it was becoming a slow rarity. But as mentioned then, rule changes will affect stuff like this. But it's not to say it was for lack of effort. Many did try in between the last one and this one, but alas, no success. But there's nothing stopping the tried, tested, and true method, and if it weren't for happening this way, we wouldn't be here talking about it. So today, we're going to talk about Cam Ward's first NHL goal. It's worth talking about. So let's talk about it. All right. So we're going in the Wayback Machine to December 26th of 2011. Some 5.5 years since our last goalie goal, and also the first day back from the NHL's mandatory Christmas holiday. And here, we have the Carolina Hurricanes hosting the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Devils are no stranger to goalie goals, whether it's goals scored or goals against. They're on both sides of the spectrum. Only in this instant, the goalie most associated with the New Jersey Devil goalie goals isn't playing in the net in this one. Instead, Johan Hedberg got the start. And at this point in the season, it's still pretty early give-ish, but at this point in the season, the Hurricanes aren't having the best go of it. Dwelling near the bottom or at the bottom of the Southeast Division, and already having gone through a coaching change, swapping out Paul Maurice for Kirk Muller about a month beforehand. Now, by the time we get to where we want to be in this game, the Hurricanes have a 3-2 lead, with New Jersey pressing to tie the game, having scored their only 2 goals of this game within a 5-minute span in the third period. So in the last minute of play in the third period, the New Jersey Devils pulled Hedberg in favor for the extra attacker. And with the Devils applying pressure, Curtis Foster would pass the puck to Patrick Elias, who would take the wrist shot on net, which was stopped by Ward, bounced off his equipment into the corner, and retrieved by Ilya Kovalchuk, former first overall pick Ilya Kovalchuk. Now he would pass it behind the net to Zach Parise, who in turn passed it back to Kovalchuk on the goal line, more in the corner but close to the goal line. And with time winding down and Kovalchuk trying to create space to make something happen, he would pass it from the line to the point, and doing that was hoping Adam Henrique would be there to receive it. And while Henrique was on the point, he just wasn't within the passing reach to do so. Now, as the puck was going Henrique's way, he would stumble on his own 2 feet, and the puck would make its way from the goal line straight into the empty at 19:30 for the 4-2 lead, which ended up being your final score. Now, initially, replay couldn't conclusively say if Ward was the last person or if Brandon Sutter was the last person, as in some replays, it looked close enough to the point where Sutter might have tipped it, or it might have gone off the blade of Sutter's stick and down to the empty net. But when the referee would ask Sutter about it, not only did Brandon Sutter say that the goal belonged to Ward, everybody who was on the ice at the time for the Hurricanes was saying the goal belonged to Cam Ward. And thanks to a post-game replay, which relied on many different angles, it did show, Sutter's stick was very close, but it was deceptively before the puck and not in the puck's way. So therefore, it was finally confirmed that yes, it went off Cam Ward's equipment. Kovalchuk shot it down, ended up being Cam Ward's goal. So with that, Cam Ward became the 6th goalie to be credited with a goal, which became the 12th goalie goal in league history. And not a bad day after Christmas present either. Now for the Devils, this one became the 2nd goalie goal scored on them in team history, or the 3rd if you count the Colorado Rockies history is as part of New Jersey. But at the end of the regular season, that doesn't matter, especially if you're New Jersey in the 2011-12 season, making it all the way to Stanley Cup final. There's always that. And while it didn't really help the Hurricanes gain any momentum in the remainder of the season, sure, it gave them a 2-game winning streak at this point, but they would still continue to flounder at the bottom of the Southeast Division and failed to make the playoffs for a 3rd straight season, but it was still a great moment to be a part of. And as I said, being it was a day after Christmas, one could call it a late Christmas present. But again, for Ward, and I've said this before, for any goalie who has the ability to say they have an NHL goal to their name in their career, that's always a positive, right? But that was the story of Cam Ward's first NHL goal. Feel free to give me your thoughts. So that's another one of them Trev's hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you've made it to this point. If you've made it to this point, yeah, I know these ones are short and sweet by design. But either way, if you've made it to this point, congratulations. You've made it to the end. And you're helping my watch time immensely, and that's never a bad thing. I mean, that algorithm, we keep talking about it. But any eyes on the prize, it's a great thing, right? Right. But if you have made it to this point, or if you're digging what I'm doing, or if you just want to say, hey, dude, I'm all for it, throw me a thumbs up. Trust me, a thumbs up, much like the watch time, helps that thing that we talk about all the time, that thing called the algorithm, gets this channel exposure. And I mean, the more exposure we can give this channel, the better it is for everybody involved. If you really want that red button, that one that says subscribe all over it, come on, if you haven't done so by now, you know you want to. I know you. You know, the algorithm knows you want to hit it. Hit that subscribe button. We're making that push to 500 by the end of the year. Hopefully we can get there. I'd love to see it happen. So fingers crossed. Let's help this guy out. If you really want, if you want to go the extra mile, that link in my description below, that'll take you to my Facebook page. Feel free to join me there. I'd love to see the numbers build up there like the numbers are building up here. I'm on there quite frequently. So if I don't find you or you don't find me, chances are we'll meet there. Either way, I'd love to see you there. So moving forward, as far as goalie goals is concerned, well, believe it or not, the next one has the same two teams in mind. And obviously the next one has the guy most associated with scoring Devils goals in it. So just an early spoiler, we're talking about the Devils and Hurricanes again in the next video. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for reviews from Trev. Data.